Good morning. So I am happy to be here with all of you, and I try my best to answer your questions. Most of the questions are coming from readers of You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters. But you can ask me any question, and you can send your questions to info@jayo.com, info@jayo.com, info@jayo.com. Today's question is from Jane McCarthy. She says, "Hi Deepak." Hi Jane. I'm 33 years old and just obtained my teaching degree this spring. I'm interviewing for jobs and will most likely be working with children of poverty. I'm certified to teach elementary, so it will be K5. Can you give me any wisdom for being a good teacher in this day and age of materialism and competition? I've read your book, The 7 Spiritual Laws for Parents, and found it helpful for teachers as well. It's been a while, so I will read it again to refresh my memory. Thanks so much. Sincerely, Jane McCarthy from Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, so let's actually talk a little bit about how children best respond. Actually, as babies, when a baby looks at its mother, what it is looking for, even though it doesn't have a language, is attention, which means being heard. Attention is that, being heard, just that. Deep listening is attention. Affection, which means the baby wants to be cared for. Affection, love. Appreciation, wants approval and wants to be noticed for all its joyful qualities. And acceptance. As you know, no one wants to be changed by other people. It's hard enough to change yourself when you want to change. So can you remember the 4 A's? Attention, which means deep listening. Affection, deep caring. Appreciation, noticing good qualities and traits. And acceptance, not trying to change anyone. So the baby learns emotional language as a result of these 4 A's, or maybe sometimes the absence of the 4 A's. And this is through a phenomenon that neuroscientists now understand. It's called limbic resonance. So if this were a handy model of the brain, as my friend Dan Siegel says, then when I open my hand where my thumb is, that's the limbic brain or the emotional brain. And it develops as a result of the relationship between parent and child. And if the relationship is healthy in those 4 A's that I mentioned, then the limbic brain, which is the emotional brain, develops in a healthy manner. If there is the absence of those 4 A's, then there is limbic dysfunction, which can lead to anxiety, fear, anger, hostility, guilt, shame, depression, etc. Okay, so how does the baby learn emotional language? It learns emotional language through watching its mother's eyes. It looks into her eyes. It also watches, the baby watches facial expressions. Is she smiling or is she upset? Also looks at or hears the tone of the voice. Is it friendly or unfriendly? And also looks at gestures. Are they friendly gestures? And in general, body language. Okay? So emotional intelligence in the beginning is through body language. So how does this pertain to teaching, and how does this pertain to teachers, particularly in the kindergarten years? I'll come back to that in 15 seconds, okay? So Michelle Tavares Littman says, repeat the 4A's again, please. By the way, you can also watch this video again afterwards. But the 4A's are attention, listening, appreciation, noticing good traits, affection, love and caring, and acceptance, not trying to change the other. Okay. So having said this, for a teacher, it's very important for the teacher to look into the eyes of a child. It's very important to have a happy countenance. It's very important to have a friendly tone. It's very important that your gestures and your body language conveys the 4A's that I mentioned. Now, having said that, a child will respect a teacher who does not scold. A child will respect a teacher who does not sermonize, but is a good example themselves of what they teach. And so whatever you're teaching, it doesn't matter what the subject is, instead of sermonizing, be in the framework of storytelling. So when I was a child, my mother used to tell me and my brother amazing stories. And then this was usually before bedtime. And then she would kind of pause the story at that critical junction point, which we called a cliffhanger. Everything was in crisis. And then she would say, tomorrow morning, I'd like you to complete the story with a happy ending. And make sure it's also a love story. So all good stories are love stories. All stories have a backstory. All stories involve a journey. Where did we come from? Where are we now? Where are we going? And what happens when we get to where we are going? See, this is very important for teachers. Everything should be a story. Whether you're teaching a science lesson or a math lesson, and also one should be in the framework of questioning. Always. Doesn't matter what you're teaching, math, science, history, geography, whatever, language. Have a storytelling attitude. And of course, in all stories, there are challenges. There is crisis. People fall down, but they also get up. And they keep going till they get to where they want to go. And then they have an experience. They feel fulfilled. They feel happy. So I remember I had a teacher in biology, and he used to teach us fat metabolism and carbohydrate metabolism. And he would always start through a question. He would say something like, if you were God, how would you create a fat molecule? And we would all discuss amongst ourselves, and actually we came up with the answer frequently because our creativity was sparked. And it was also sparked through storytelling. Always storytelling and always questioning. Always questioning. You have to teach through questioning. What do you think of this idea? How did Pythagoras come up with this theorem? And then go a little bit into the story of Pythagoras, a great luminary since Greek times. So Since ancient times, stories have been the prime way of teaching. Mythical stories and stories of inspiration, stories of discovery. How did Einstein come up with the theory of relativity? Of course, that's too advanced for a child in K5, but you never know. Einstein imagined himself riding a beam of light, and then he had a vision, and the math came much later. Okay, so imagination, storytelling, questioning, living the questions, and being a good example are the best ways to teach children. Once you bond with them emotionally, they will listen to you. Once you bond with them emotionally, they will listen to you. Okay, so this is it. I hope that helps a little bit. Thank you for asking the question, Jane. And remember, all of you can send me questions from this book, You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters, or any other question. Your questions should come to info@jayo.com, info@jayo.com, and then they get placed in a queue, and I answer them in the order they are received. Okay? So all the best, and I will thank you.